How are you guys doing? Today is Tuesday, November 9th, 2021. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review the Elite matchups and performances from yesterday, Monday, November 8th. And just to take a quick look at where we are in this calendar year with the MLB season having ended already. The next season that is coming to a close is going to be the college football season, as there's about a month left in that season. There's about a good 2 months left in the NFL season, as football is most definitely underway at this moment. Basketball got started recently, just as well as hockey, as college basketball picks back up tonight. And going on through the season, I'm going to cover at least what's going on with the top 25 teams as we progress through this college basketball season. And of course, looking overseas, most soccer teams are getting ready. They're going into their breaks, so it'll be a second before I get into that. So with that said, looking into the final football game of the 9th week of the NFL season, jumping out to Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh Steelers hosted the Chicago Bears. The Steelers were able to beat the Bears 29-27 after these Steelers outscored the Bears 14-3 in the first half. The Bears would outscore the Steelers 24-15 in the second half. The Bears would go up by one thanks to a 16-yard touchdown pass from Justin Fields to Darnell Mooney. But the Steelers would drive down the field in about 80 seconds and then kick a 40-yard field goal from Chris Boswell to win the game and pick up a very big win over a very solid Chicago Bears team. The Bears were led by their elite young starting quarterback, their rookie Justin Fields. He would complete 17 of his 29 passes as he threw for 291 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. He had 8 carries for 45 yards as well. That would be 336 total yards of offense for Justin Fields. Their leading carrier, David Montgomery, had 13 carries for 63 yards, as he also had 2 receptions for 17 yards as well for himself. That was 80 total yards of offense for him. The Bears' leading receiver, Cole Kmet, had 6 receptions for 87 yards. Their third leading receiver, Darnell Mooney, had 3 receptions for 41 yards and a touchdown. He had the team's only receiving touchdown, and he also had a 15-yard carry for a touchdown, as he had the team's 2 offensive touchdowns, as he had 56 total yards of offense to his name. On the defensive side of the ball, Roquan Smith led the Bears in tackles, as he had 12 of them, and he had a sack for himself. The Bears are combined for 4 sacks. Looking at the Steelers on the other end, they were led by their elite starting quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger. Roethlisberger completed 21 of his 30 passes as he threw for 205 yards and 2 touchdowns. Their leading carrier was Najee Harris out of Alabama. He had 22 carries for 62 yards and a touchdown on the ground. He also had 3 receptions for 16 yards as he had 78 total yards of offense. The Steelers' second leading receiver, Pat Freiermuth, had 5 receptions for 43 yards as he had both of the team's receiving touchdowns. On the defensive side of the ball, the Steelers' elite safety, Minkah Fitzpatrick, would lead the team in tackles as he had 8 of them. The Steelers' elite defensive end, TJ Watt, would have 7 tackles as 3 of his 7 tackles were the Steelers' 3 sacks for the day. And then, of course, their elite defensive lineman, Cameron Hayward, would finish with 2 tackles as he finished. He ended up with an interception. And with this win, the Pittsburgh Steelers are now 5-3. And with this loss, the Chicago Bears are 3-6. The next NFL game will be on Thursday, as that will be the very first matchup as Week 10, as we will jump to Miami as the Dolphins will host the Baltimore Ravens. Taking a look at what's going on in the NBA from yesterday's matchup, starting off in Philadelphia. The Philadelphia 76ers hosted their division rivals, the New York Knicks. The Knicks would end up beating the Sixers 103-96 after they outscored the 76ers by a combined 14 points in the first half. The 76ers were led by their starting shooting guard, Furkan Korkmaz. Korkmaz finished with 19 points in 40 minutes as he shot 7 for 16 from the field and 5 for 12 from 3. The New York Knicks were led by their starting power forward, Julius Randle. He finished with 31 points and 12 rebounds in 36 minutes. He shot 12 for 25 from the field, 5 for 10 from 3, and a perfect 2 for 2 from the foul line. And their elite starting point guard, Kemba Walker, would finish with 8 points, 3 rebounds, and 5 assists in 27 minutes, as Walker shot 3 for 9 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3, and he made his only free throw attempt on the night. With this win, the New York Knicks are now 7-4, and with this loss, the Philadelphia 76ers are now 8-3 on the season. Taking a look at what's going on in Chicago, the Bulls hosted the Brooklyn Nets, and the Bulls would end up pulling off a 118-95 win after they outscored the Nets by 4 points in the third, and they went on to outscore the Brooklyn Nets by 25 points in the fourth quarter, so a combined 29 in the second half to pull off a 23-point win. The Brooklyn Nets were led by their goated starting power forward, Kevin Durant, out of Texas. Durant finished with 38 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 assists in 35 minutes. He shot 13 for 24 from the field, 3 for 8 from 3, and a perfect 9 for 9 from the foul line. Their elite starting shooting guard, James Harden, finished with 14 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists in 34 minutes. He shot 4 for 11 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, and a perfect 3 for 3 from the foul line. Their elite starting power forward, Blake Griffin, finished with 2 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists in 21 minutes. He shot 1 for 5 from the field. On the winning side of this matchup, the Chicago Bulls were led in scoring by their starting small forward out of USC, DeMar DeRozan. He finished with 28 points in 35 minutes as he shot 10 for 20 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, and 7 for 9 from the foul line. Their starting shooting guard out of UCLA, All-Star Zach LaVine, finished with 24 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in 33 minutes. LaVine shot 10 for 17 from the field and a perfect 4 for 4 from the line. With this win, the Chicago Bulls are 7-3, and with this loss, the Brooklyn Nets are 7-4. Jumping out to the musical city in Memphis, the Memphis Grizzlies hosted the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Grizzlies would end up beating the Timberwolves 125-118 after they outscored the Timberwolves 12-5 in overtime. The Grizzlies would have to overcome an 11-point deficit in the fourth quarter to tie up the game in order to get there in the first place. The Timberwolves were led in scoring by their elite starting point guard out of Ohio State, D'Angelo Russell. He finished with 30 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists in 41 minutes. D'Lo shot 10 for 22 from the field, 6 for 13 from 3, and a perfect 4 for 4 from the foul line. Their starting small forward, former number 1 overall pick out of Georgia, Anthony Edwards, finished with 27 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 steals in 43 minutes as he shot 9 for 22 from the field, 4 for 9 from 3, and 5 for 7 from the foul line. And their elite starting center out of Kentucky, Karl Anthony Towns, finished with 25 points, 12 rebounds, and 2 blocks, as well as 5 turnovers in 43 minutes. Towns shot 9 for 20 from the field, 3 for 9 from 3, and 4 for 5 from the foul line. Looking at how the hometown Grizzlies fared, they were led in scoring by their elite starting point guard out of Murray State. Ja Morant finished with 33 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists in 41 minutes. He shot 10 for 24 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3, and 10 for 12 from the foul line. Their power forward off the bench out of Gonzaga, Brandon Clark, finished with 20 points and 9 rebounds in 24 minutes. He shot 8 for 11 from the field and 4 for 5 from 3. With this win, the Memphis Grizzlies are 6-4. With this loss, the Minnesota Timberwolves are 3-6. Taking a look at what's going on in Texas and Dallas, the Mavericks hosted the Pelicans from one state over. The Mavericks would end up beating the Pelicans 108-92 as the Mavericks outscored the Pelicans by 5 in the third quarter and by 7 in the fourth quarter by a combined 12 points to increase their 4-point lead that they had at halftime. The Pelicans would be led in scoring by their center, Jonas Valanciunas, and their shooting guard, Josh Hart. Valanciunas finished with 22 points and 11 rebounds in 34 minutes as he shot 10 for 16 from the field and 2 for 3 from 3. Josh Hart finished with 22 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists in 38 minutes as he shot 8 for 13 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, and 5 for 6 from the foul line. Looking at the Dallas Mavericks, they were led in scoring by their elite starting point guard out of Slovenia, Luka Doncic. He finished with 25 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 5 turnovers in 33 minutes. He shot 10 for 21 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, and 3 for 5 from the foul line. With this win, the Dallas Mavericks are now 7-3, and with this loss, the New Orleans Pelicans are 1-10 at this point in the season. Taking a look at what's going on in Denver, the Denver Nuggets and the reigning MVP hosted the Miami Heat. The Nuggets would pull off a 113-96 win, winning by 17, after they went on to outscore Miami by 15 points in the first half. The Heat were led in scoring by their elite starting small forward, Jimmy Butler. He finished with 31 points, 5 rebounds, and 8 assists in 38 minutes. He shot 10 for 18 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, and 9 for 11 from the foul line. Their elite starting center, Bam Adebayo out of Kentucky, finished with 10 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 assists in 31 minutes. He shot 3 for 10 from the field and 4 for 6 from the foul line. The Denver Nuggets were led in scoring by their elite starting center, the reigning MVP, and their starting small forward, Will Barton. Nikola Jokic finished with 25 points, 15 rebounds, 10 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks in 33 minutes, as he shot 10 for 14 from the field and 5 for 8 from the foul line. Will Barton finished with 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists in 35 minutes. He shot 9 for 14 from the field and 7 for 9 from 3. With this win, the Denver Nuggets are 6-4. With this loss, the Miami Heat are 7-3, as these were two of the top teams in the NBA really facing off. Jumping out to the capital of California, the Sacramento Kings hosted the Phoenix Suns, and the surging hot Suns were able to beat the Kings 109-104. The Suns outscored the Kings 31-12 by 19 points in the third quarter. That would end up being the difference in this game. The Kings were led in scoring by their starting small forward, Harrison Barnes. He finished with 26 points and 6 rebounds alongside 6 turnovers in 36 minutes. He shot 7 for 9 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, and he shot a perfect 11 for 11 from the foul line. Their starting point guard out of Kentucky, De'Aaron Fox, finished with 24 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks, and 5 turnovers in 35 minutes, as Fox shot 8 for 19 from the field. He would also go on to shoot 1 for 1 from 3 and 7 for 11 from the foul line. Looking at the Phoenix Suns, they were led in scoring by their point guard off the bench, Cam Payne. He finished with 24 points in 22 minutes as he shot 9 for 14 from the field, 4 for 6 from 3, and a perfect 2 for 2 from the foul line. Their elite starting shooting guard, Devin Booker, finished with 18 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and 5 turnovers in 32 minutes. He shot 8 for 17 from the field and 2 for 5 from 3. Their elite starting point guard out of Wake Forest, Chris Paul, finished with 16 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals in 26 minutes. He shot 6 for 12 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, and a perfect 2 for 2 from the foul line. With this win, the Phoenix Suns are 6-3, and with this loss, the Sacramento Kings are now 5-6. Taking a look at what's going on in San Francisco, not that far away, the Warriors hosted the Atlanta Hawks, and they were able to pull off a 127-113 win after the Warriors outscored the Hawks 41-20 in the third. That would be the difference here. The Atlanta Hawks were led in scoring by their elite starting point guard, Trae Young. He finished with 28 points, 3 rebounds, and 9 assists in 32 minutes. Young shot 11 for 20 from the field, 4 for 8 from 3, and 2 for 3 from the foul line. The Golden State Warriors were led in scoring by their goated starting point guard, Stephen Curry. He finished with 50 points, 7 rebounds, 10 assists, and 4 steals in 35 minutes. Curry shot 14 for 28 from the field, 9 for 19 from 3, and a perfect 13 for 13 from the foul line. With this win, the Golden State Warriors are 9-1, as they've only won. I guess with 9-1, how 9-1 works is they've only lost one of their first 10 games. And with this loss, the Atlanta Hawks are now 4-7. Taking a look at what's going on in the Staples Center, the Los Angeles Lakers hosted the Charlotte Hornets, and the Lakers were able to pull off a 126-123 win after outscoring the Hornets 11-8 in overtime. The Charlotte Hornets were led in scoring of course, by their starting shooting guard, Scary Terry Rozier. He finished with 29 points in 40 minutes as he shot 11 for 22 from the field and a perfect 4 for 4 from the foul line. Their elite starting point guard, LaMelo Ball, finished with 25 points, 16 rebounds, and 11 assists in 42 minutes. He shot 8 for 19 from the field, 3 for 8 from 3, and a perfect 6 for 6 from the foul line. Their starting small forward out of Butler, Gordon Hayward, finished with 21 points and 6 rebounds in 41 minutes. He shot 7 for 14 from the field and a perfect 5 for 5 from the foul line. The hometown LA Lakers were led in scoring by their elite starting power forward, Anthony Davis. He finished with 32 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, and 5 blocks in 44 minutes. As he shot 13 for 25 from the field, and he shot 6 for 8 from the foul line. Their future Hall of Fame power forward, Carmelo Anthony, would lead the bench players in scoring as he finished with 29 points in 37 minutes. He shot 9 for 13 from the field, 7 for 10 from 3, and 4 for 5 from the foul line. The Lakers' elite starting point guard, Russell Westbrook out of UCLA, would finish with 17 points, 12 rebounds, and 14 assists alongside 3 steals and 7 turnovers in 41 minutes. Westbrook shot 5 for 15 from the field and 7 for 10 from the foul line. With this win, the Lakers are 6-5. With this loss, the Charlotte Hornets are now 5-7. That is what the NBA is looking like, as of course there's not much going on overseas in the soccer department. With that said, I want to thank everybody for listening to all 16 minutes of this piece. I want to thank ESPN. I want to thank the NFL, the NBA, and the college football, basketball websites as well for giving me all the facts and figures that I needed in order to do this episode. I apologize if I butchered the names because I do eventually plan on getting them right. But with that said, once all of today's exhibitions are done, I will come back tomorrow on Wednesday, November 10th for another episode of The Elite. And until then, I want to thank everyone once again for listening to this piece. I hope all is well, and I'll catch you with another episode tomorrow. Peace out.